It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call shots. So Todd, we both played Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Yes, we did.
How'd you feel about it?
I love it. Absolutely loved it.
I liked it a lot. We'll obviously get into it, but this is the game that I've been evangelizing for the past few weeks on the main show. It's by Ninja Theory. It's the one that, I was talking about. They launched it for $29.99, kind of like half the price for half the length of a normal AAA game. They describe it as an independent AAA game, and I think that's a good way of describing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it does have like the AAA kind of like production value, but it's relatively short. It's actually longer than I thought it was. I would say anywhere between 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
For me, that's kind of a perfect length because, I'm an adult. I have a full-time job. I have shit to do. So it's nice to have like a good, tight, concise experience that is cheap and quick, And but do you want to, before we get too deep into it, how would you describe Hellblade? What would be your elevator pitch for Hellblade to somebody who has no idea what the hell it is?
Well, you're about to jump into a game that's like, based off like mainly like Norse mythology, a little bit of Celtic mythology as well.
Yeah, it's like Celtic Norse, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Celtic Norse mythology, and you are put into the footsteps of Senua, who is crazy as shit.
Yeah, that she is. But the game, I don't know. It's weird. The game is like she's got a mental disorder. She's got like voices in her head, schizophrenic kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And actually, I thought it was kind of cool. The literally the first credits of the game before when the game's opening crawl is happening, they credit like mental health and historical advisors before they even credit the team at Ninja Theory. I thought that was kind of cool. So they do take it seriously, and Hellblade actually has a mental health help site on their official website. So I don't know, it's kind of cool. They're treating the mental health issues with respect. But the game is like a third person over the shoulder sort of, I wouldn't call it action adventure. It's weird. It's a hard one to describe, man. It's like it's got a lot of walking. It's got a lot of puzzle solving. It certainly has some combat. It's kind of this weird thing. It doesn't really fit neatly into any one box.
I mean, I've seen some like media, sites call it a hack and slash. And I'm like,
I don't know if I would call it a hack and slash. I wouldn't either. Because the combat is not like. There are a few moments in the game where they do pit you against a ton of enemies, but it's not like you're just like hacking and slashing a ton of enemies, except for maybe 2 or 3 set piece moments in the game. Mm-hmm. Talking about the combat, let's just jump right into that. I think you probably like the combat a little more than I do.
I definitely do. I know how you feel about it, but the combat is the weakest part of the game.
Yeah, it definitely is for me too.
It's just like. Well, shit, I'm going to tell you, I really got into the combat a little more when I realized I could be using the focus ability.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, focus is a game changer.
Like, yeah, I actually was like, oh, dude, this combat's absolute garbage. Like, before I realized you can focus during combat.
And it allows you to sort of slow down time, and it's actually kind of required for several enemies.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
It's just, the combat's very, like... My main issue with Hellblade in general is it's a very like the game I feel like, and maybe this was intentional, I feel like I'm just fucking like mud. Like it's so slow. Like you walk slowly. There is a sprint button, which I didn't realize until I was already like an hour in. But
I was actually the same way though.
Even then, it's still really slow. And that makes, the game features a lot of like backtracking for its puzzles, and it's slow going, and the combat is slow too. There are some moments where it is like kind of intense, and it does require some precision, but for the most part, it's a very kind of like by the numbers combat. Mm-hmm. Is it bad? No, I think it's unnecessary. I don't think the game needed combat at all, because at the heart of Hellblade, which is probably the stupidest title for an actually really good game, At the heart of it, it's really just a story about this woman. It's almost a one-woman show. It's almost like you're watching. It's almost like you're taking part in a one-woman play or something.
Yeah.
Because Senua, the actress's name is Melina Jurgens, and as near as I can tell, she's never acted before, and she fucking kills it in this game.
Oh, absolutely kills it.
And like, I mean, the game kind of lives and dies on the strength of Senua and that character, and I think that is probably the strongest element of the game is her. The game is the most basic hero's journey imaginable with the story. It is literally, yes, the window dressing is Celtic and Norse mythology, and the psychosis of Senua as a character, and all of the fucked up imagery that comes with all of that. And there is certainly a lot of fucked up imagery.
Oh, yeah.
This game is not for the faint. I half wanted to have my girlfriend play this game because I think it's actually a really interesting game, but I literally think it would scare her.
Yeah, I don't think she'd be able to handle it.
It's brutal. I mean, the game is brutal and dark, and but anyway, it's literally, the story is at its base. It is Senua is trying to recover the soul of her dead lover, and that's a pretty standard. That we've seen that 100 times before. But what's nice about Hellblade is it, like I said earlier, it treats her psychosis with respect. There are good reasons for her to have this psychosis, and she's not talked down to about it. And it is, by the end of it, she has gone on a journey and she has matured as a character. And, I'm not going to spoil anything in this episode of Shots because I do think you should go and play it relatively blind. By the end of it, she does learn a lesson about letting go. I just finished the game minutes ago. And, I was surprised that you'd played it. I was happy that you had played it.
Yeah, like you've been like singing again. I think we were talking earlier, and I feel like I've known about the game for a while, but it's just kind of like in my subconscious type shit.
Yeah, it's been in the ether for years.
Yeah, and just you bringing it up like for the past like couple weeks, I'm like, I'm gonna check this out because I'm like I was off yesterday or 2 days ago or whatever, and I downloaded it, pre-ordered it, and I just fell in love with it.
Yeah, it's such a low asking price, like just $29.99 for a really solid, really well made 6 to 8 hours of video game, which is really, for all of its flaws, and I think the game is flawed in some major ways, the combat being one of them, the just sort of slow pace of it being one of them. It for all of its flaws, it is unlike anything else I've ever played. Even just visually, the game does some really great things with the sound design. The game recommends, and I agree, and I think you agree, you need to play this game with a good set of headphones.
Yeah, like soon as I started playing it, but before you, and I even told you, I'm like, dude, you need to listen to that shit. Play with headphones. I played the game start to finish with my my wireless PS4 Gold headphones, and man, it was awesome. Just the binaural things they do. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but Senua does have like voices in her head. It's really cool. Graphically, I think it looks really great. It's just a really pretty game. Like I said, it has AAA production values. It does look like, I mean, the facial animations have got to be among the best facial animations I've ever seen in a video game. Yeah, I'll agree with you on that.
Like just the motion capture performances in general. The game really doesn't have very many characters in it. Which is typical of a Ninja Theory game. Ninja Theory's kind of pedigree. They did Heavenly Sword, which was probably the first decent PS3 game. They did DMC Devil May Cry. They did Enslaved Odyssey to the West, and now this. And all of those games have very high quality motion capture work. And I think Hellblade is probably by far the best as far as that goes. I mean, the facial animations, there are moments where I'm literally like, especially when other characters are interacting with Senua, and it's kind of like this ethereal, when she's talking to characters that might be in another realm or dead or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, is this literally just full motion video? Like, it looks like just a real person is just there.
Was it not full motion video, though?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I have no idea.
I honestly think that, especially the character, I mean, it's not really a spoiler, the character Druth, I totally thought that shit was full motion video.
See, I didn't think Druth was, but I thought that maybe Dillian, the lover, I thought maybe he was, but I don't know. That's the thing, is Senua also looks so fucking real with her facial animation that if Senua's face was just like maybe a little blurry, and if you saw her in the ether like that, maybe she would look like she was full. I mean, it's that good, you know. I don't know. One thing that I really liked, and I wish the game did more of this. So the game has a very easy platinum. If you care about that, like I do, I'm a trophy whore.
I fucked up.
I care about it, but it has very easy platinum. Literally, all you have to do is play through the game and collect all of the lore stone collectibles. What I wish they had done, the lore stones were cool because it's just you see them and you interact with them, and it's Druth giving you pieces of Celtic Norse mythology stories.
Yeah.
And but another thing that's in the game that I'm surprised they didn't go kind of whole hog on is Senua. She has all this emotional baggage related to her mother. Again, no spoilers. She sees her mother's face in like waterfalls and rock formations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she can actually interact with her mother in that way. And it's actually kind of nice because her mom gives her these words of encouragement and stuff like that. And I was like, man, how is this not a collectible?
Honestly, I think they missed out on not making that more of like something to actually really look for.
Yeah.
I think I only found actually a couple of those.
Yeah, I don't know how many are in the game, but I think I found like 4 or 5.
Yeah, you found more than me.
I think I found like 4 or 5 of them, and I don't know if there are any more in the game or what, but I don't know. I just thought that was they kind of dropped the ball on that, because it was actually really nice to hear the way that the mother talked to her about, like, you know, don't be ashamed of who you are type thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I really like that game has a really good heart. There's a really good heart in that game, and it's wrapped in a really cool setting, a really cool visual style. I don't know. It's a really unique little game for all of its flaws. Speaking of, I hate critiquing anything really, because even if I really, really like something, whenever I critique it, I sound like I'm shitting on it. I'm really not. I really do like this game. It's probably going to wind up on my top 10 list this year.
Oh, it's definitely ending up on my top 10.
It's probably it's probably going to be kind of on the lower side, but it is probably going to be on my top 10 list this year. I mean, it's that good. It is a very good game. And it is interesting enough and inspirational enough and well made enough to where I do want to give it a shout out. I do think this game deserves your time, even though I don't think the game is for everybody. As I mentioned earlier, it's a lot of the crux of the gameplay is puzzle solving.
Mm-hmm.
And while I like a lot of the puzzles in the game, I really like, and I've said this to you off mic several times, the first thing I did, that Valravn section.
Yeah, that honestly, the Valravn section has a lot of, like, probably the best puzzles in the game.
It's the best puzzles in the game, even though there is a little bit of backtracking involved, which I didn't like. But I just love that. That's just a great hour of Hellblade. Like, that's just everything that I like. There's very little combat. There's, again, the big combat encounter, the boss fight with Valravn himself is the best fight in the game for my money.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
They're really, the game does feel, I wouldn't say that it overstays its welcome, but the puzzles do feel a little bit like padding at times. There are these puzzles there are going to be these locked doors with these runic sigils on them. And your job is to examine the runic sigils and find them in the world. So, like, there might be a runic sigil that looks like it's the shape of, like, a letter P or something like that. And you might need to work your way onto, like, a rooftop and, like, align some tree branches with your camera's perspective to see the rune symbol. It's basically, think of like, the Riddler trophies in the Arkham games. Some of them, how you have to, like, line up the camera perspective and, like, take a picture of them. It's basically exactly like that.
Yeah.
But some of them are, like, super obtuse.
Holy shit, you're not even wrong about that.
I'm not going to point out specific examples, but some of them I literally just found, like, by accident. Like, I was just like, okay.
I happened to look in the right area once, like, multiple times. I'm like,
right.
Oh, okay.
Just slightly too obtuse. The puzzles that I really liked, the game has, those sections like the Valravn section where it's like...
There's like these gateways.
Yeah, the illusionary gateways. Yeah. That stuff is great. There are several sections of the game that are they're kind of based around really solid puzzle mechanics. I wish there was more of that and less of the other thing and less combat. And I really think that the game could have just been a really cool kind of almost adventure game with no combat at all. And the parts that were really tense that were not combat related, like the kind of sections where you have to run away from an enemy and Senua doesn't have a weapon.
Those had me very tensed up.
Yeah, those are just those butthole clenching moments, you know? Those moments are great. And the game could have... I would have taken one of those for any combat scenario in the game any day of the week. Mm-hmm. Again, I really don't want to sound like I'm shitting on the game because I do love it. I thought it was great. And again, it's important. The game does deal with topics that video games kind of never really have in a meaningful way.
Yeah, and they handle it so well.
Yeah. And again, just the production values. I just want to drive that home. The game is so well made, and it does feel like a AAA quality game for just $30. And it's, again, longer than you might expect. And if you care about that sort of thing, it has a good, easy trophy list. So I really, for me, it's kind of a win-win, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. The game, I don't think the game really has any replay value, sadly.
It definitely doesn't. I've already deleted it off my hard drive.
The only reason I haven't done that yet is because I want to watch the Hellblade feature that is included.
Oh shit, what the hell's that?
Yeah, so there's a thing on the main menu called Hellblade feature, and I was like, when I first booted up the game, I was like, what's this? And it begins to play a video, and it says, spoiler alert, beat the game and come back and watch this.
Oh shit. Alright, well.
Assuming it's like a behind the scenes video kind of thing.
Oh, I'm about to go re-download it.
So I'm gonna watch that before I uninstall it, but really there's no huge replay value. But I do think that the game is worth the $30 asking price.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's really, for like $30, it's just a solid, just one play, like a one playthrough. You're good.
Yeah, just you drop $30. You have a really good, interesting way to spend your weekend with your PS4 or PC. I think it's also on PC. Mm-hmm. And again, it's not like anything else you're gonna play on your PS4 or PC this year. It's super unique, and I really just, as I kept harping on this on the show. I think I mentioned Hellblade like 3 or 4 episodes in a row, just evangelizing the game. I want to support this idea, right? The idea of like these developers not coming out and charging $60 for a game that's only 6 hours long or whatever, like. Yeah. Why can't games like Hellblade exist, where it is a high quality AAA level game, but they're not charging that high asking price. They're not charging you in time or money, because to me, Hellblade is just a perfect kind of junk food kind of experience where I'm just like, that was a great, I played it in like 2 or 3 sittings, played through the entire thing, 100%ed it, platinumed it, had a great time, and I feel totally satisfied. And they're probably never going to make another Hellblade, and that's okay. And I'm just happy to have supported this one.
Yeah.
And just like any Ninja Theory game, I'm definitely going to be playing whatever they have coming out next. So I think that kind of wraps up my thoughts. Is there anything else you want to say about it?
I think that's really about it, just... Other than the fact that the game has like some really good like scenic moments.
Oh yeah, the game actually is full of great moments. I like the pacing of the game. Aside from the gameplay, I like aside from the actual like slow combat and the slow walking and stuff like that, and the slow puzzle solving, I like the actual like set piece moments.
Yeah,
a lot. And there are just there are moments in this game that are just going to be drilled into my head.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
And definitely for people like that have struggled with mental health issues, big or small, you don't need to be, I'll say that you don't need to be a schizophrenic. You don't need to have somebody with a psychosis to relate to anything that Sen was going through. If you have ever been suicidal, if you have ever been depressed, like that stuff is driven home in a big bad way, and
it definitely is.
Yeah, and it'll definitely hit home. So it's an interesting game. It's a special game. I really hope that you support it. I love the entire performance. The entire cast really gave great performances. I was a little bummed to not see my boy Andy Serkis, who's been working with Ninja Theory a lot. Melina Juergens, man, this chick's a fucking star.
Mm-hmm.
I would be shocked if like Naughty Dog does not take note of her performance in Hellblade and snatches her up for whatever they do next.
That's some real shit.
Because it is not easy. It's not easy to be a great actress. It's definitely not easy to be a video game actress, and it is really not easy to be a video game motion capture actress. Mm-hmm. So for her to come out with her first major video game performance and to just kill it in the way that she does with her performance as Senua in Hellblade, she's going places, and I can't wait. I loved her performance in this game. Anyway, Hellblade's really, really good. Go buy it. Support it. That's it. That's it from us. Bye.
See ya.